Welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to another Great British Hobbit League video. As always, you're here with James.
And Jamie. And today we're going to be looking at some of this change between the Lord of the Rings rules and the Hobbit rules. And that's going to be monsters and their new strike rules.
Now this is going to be a series of videos that we're going to be doing, specifically aimed at those guys really who maybe played the Lord of the Rings in the past and aren't too sure about how the game has changed and evolved in the last few years. So today, specifically, we're talking about the monster rules and the changes to that. So what were monsters like in the Lord of the Rings strategy battle game rules?
In the old rules, they were pretty weak, to be honest. They were generally 3 attacks. They have the exact same profiles that they have now. So cave trolls, big trolls, 3 attacks, and they would just make those 3 regular attacks at their strength. And they were quite weak because you could just put one guy into them, and that would feed them for the entire game.
Is that what people used to do as a tactic?
Yes, yep. You put one guy in, you sacrifice him, but you're holding that monster up for the entire game. Like, charge him 1 Fountain Court or 1 Khazad Guard or 1 Elf and just shield and hope maybe you win. And you'll send in your hero late game to try and kill it.
So the stat line's the same, but they were quite weak.
Yes. Generally they were always seen as a sort of a point sink. You were wasting points taking them basically.
Okay. Did anybody take monsters at all? Or?
You could see 1 or 2. Tournament-wise, they'd always be mid or bottom table. They were never prominent in the top table.
Right, so as you all know, I'm a relatively new wargamer, and so I've not experienced the monsters in the old rules. So it's quite surprising to me to hear that they actually weren't well used. So what's happened going into the Hobbit strategy battle game?
So with the new rules, they've gained 3 new things called brutal power attacks. This has massively changed their power ability in the game. They've gone from being don't bother taking them to try and take one of these guys, ideally a hero so you can get some heroics in there, but your regular monsters now aren't going to get tied up so easily. So the different types of strikes they've got, one of them is called rend. Now rend allows you to make your regular 3 attacks against 1 model, but you strike against their strength rather than their defence.
So this is going to be really good against high defence models, isn't it?
Such
like
as
dwarves.
which is probably where it's going to come in most.
Yeah.
Because
I've done that before. Yeah. My eagle against Khazad Guard.
But it also works against troops. So you got those guys that are charging in, the Khazad Guard, the Fountain Court, with defence 7, and your monsters are going to be winning them on. Generally, they're strength 6 or 7s. They're going to be winning them on 4s or 5s. You're hitting them on their strength 4 or 3, so you're winning them on 3s, so you're getting through them all much quicker.
So really, really handy for taking down those high defence models.
Yes.
And, yeah. So that's the first one, and I think we can say that that's a big sort of thumbs up. You know, there are lots and lots of scenarios and occasions where you can see that that is going to be very, very, very useful. Yeah. Very useful.
Taking down the enemy general is always good for the monsters to do.
Yeah, brilliant. So the next one on here is hurl.
Yes, hurl is probably the single best addition that monsters have gained.
I don't like hurl.
No, I don't like hurl either.
Do you know why I don't like hurl?
Why?
Because I play Rohan.
I play wood elves, so you're losing your horses and I'm losing my elves.
Yeah.
Very easy.
Yeah, my guys are being knocked off their horses all the time when I'm coming up against monsters, and it's very handy. It's really good fun to do as well.
Yeah, if you've got a monster, you just want to hurl stuff because you want to kill as many models as possible and just throw a dwarf or throw someone through the line.
So explain to us exactly how hurl works. How does it work on the battlefield?
With hurl, you have to win the combat first of all. Then you will elect to hurl. Now when you hurl a model, you find out the difference in your strengths. So let's say you've got a cave troll throwing a wood elf. That's the most common thing I come up against. The cave troll is strength 6, wood elf is strength 3, so there's a 3 difference. And you roll a dice and you add the d6 to that total, so anything between 4 and 9 inches, it's going to travel that distance.
Right. So
you would aim it down that line, and every model it hits takes a strength 3 hit, so it can be quite destructive for me, because they're going to die on 4+, and for you you're going to lose your cavalry.
Yeah, and it really kind of negates one of the things that I've seen a lot from a lot of players, which is that battle line.
Yes.
You know, that battle line where you've got the line at the front, you know, and then you've got shields, spears behind, you know, you're getting a monster on the flank, everything's knocked down.
Yeah. So obviously you can really turn the tide of your battle with knocking down the front rank because suddenly everyone's getting double strikes against them when they're on the floor. Yeah. So it can be a really beneficial to your army to have a monster.
It adds a really good tactical level to the game as
Yes.
well, because not just for the monster side where you're thinking, right, okay, well, where can I hurl this model? You know, how is it going to disrupt the bigger picture? But also for the player that's playing against the models, because
You got to suddenly plan to think, right,
yeah, I'm not having these guys all lined up like that.
exactly. Or you want to think, right, it's my priority. Let's do that monster fight last.
And I guess it takes away what you talked about as being a weakness for
Yeah.
the monsters before, which is that idea of feeding a model one at a time. Because you feed a model,
He picks it up and goes, all right,
Have
I'll
it.
try and dash
Yeah.
kill more than just this one guy.
now, and what kind of occasions would somebody use hurl instead of just using a normal attack? Because you're not all of a sudden using your own strength. And
Yes, yeah.
You're not necessarily looking at killing something as effectively. What kind of situation would you use that instead?
Things you want to do that for are sort of like sniping models. So you want to throw it at your shamans, your banner bearers, the like Rangers of Rangers of the North, or Dunedain, those low-level heroes who can be killed off with one wound. Also just disrupting the battle lines, knocking them over, or anything with low defense is going to be really punished by the hurl.
Yeah. So it definitely
Or-
brings another tactical element.
If you definitely want to kill one model, because for every model that the thrown or the hurled model hits, it takes strength 3 hits as well. So let's say you throw a dwarf through 6
battle line.
guys, he's going to take 6 strength 3 hits. And if
It's like being surrounded, really,
essentially,
isn't it?
yeah.
Like being
So
surrounded by models.
let's say you win against a hero, throw him through a line of guys, he's going to take a lot of hits, and you can potentially kill them off just with the hurl, as well as doing damage to the guys.
So it's pretty handy. Another really nice rule. So we've already got rend, and we know that that's pretty cool. And we've got hurl. So the final one on there is barge.
Yes.
Barge. Now you might have seen barge in one of our battle reports.
Yes,
If
yeah.
you've not checked out all of our battle reports, make sure you have a little look over the battle report section of the YouTube channel and take a look at wood elves versus it was goblins versus
Goblins versus Rohan.
350 points.
Yeah.
And it was a great battle.
It was a very fun battle.
It was dramatic, and one of the bits that was incredibly dramatic and really exciting was a moment when Gwahir, who was the monster that I've had most experience with, my eagle, he decided that he wanted to get through to a shaman through other models. So what Barge seems to be really good at is if you are trying to protect a hero or an important warrior of some kind, an important warrior, it's getting through to that so you can get into combat. So explain to us exactly how it works.
So for Barge, you have to be the person who's charged. You can't do it if you've been counter-charged. So you charge in, you win the fight. You don't make any strikes, but you get to push back all the models in base contact with you 3 inches, and you get to choose them. So you get to choose where they're going to go. So you sort of say there's a hero here, you've charged in here, and there's a line of guys here. You get to push them out the way for your monster then to move through into that hero.
Very, very good if you've got like a river nearby that you can push goblins into so that the river kills them. That's always good. Or if you're playing on something like Goblin Town scenery, and
Yeah, you can
it's a
push them
chasm.
off the edge.
Yeah.
To then move on afterwards, you have to roll again. You have to roll a dice, roll a d6, and you can move that many inches, and it counts as charging again. So if you're monstrous cavalry, you'll get your +1 attack, and you're knocked down. And that's pretty much Barge. It's really for taking out heroes who are well defended behind their battle lines that you need to get rid of.
And again, one of the great things about all 3 of these rules is it gives you another layer of something to think about, from a tactical point of view. And it's great fun. It's really good fun to see on the battlefield.
It brings that new element to the game. Like monsters always just sat there doing nothing, whereas now they can contribute to the battle in a way that no other model can.
And something that's a really interesting dynamic is even when it's happening to you, you think, this is cool.
This is pretty cool.
This is cool.
This would happen in the films.
Now, obviously, you've been amongst the tournament group quite a lot. I mean, I have interviewed some of them, and I've spoken to them about this specifically as well, so I do kind of know the answer.
Yeah.
But what's been the kind of reception that you've been getting from everybody about these new monster rules?
Great to use, horrible to be used against.
Yeah.
I think that's generally, that's how I feel, so I would assume everyone else feels the same.
Yeah, brilliant. So that's been Monster Brutal Power Attacks, another layer to the game now that it's become the Hobbit strategy battle game. We definitely recommend that you give it a go. If you're not going to be in your local area or you don't know anybody who plays a strategy battle game, maybe you're an old player and you want to learn these rules, feel free to get in contact with us and we'll try and direct you in the right direction.
Yeah,
We know a lot of
try and
players.
hook you up with someone in the local area to have a game with.
Yeah, it's definitely worth doing, guys. A new game, very exciting. Try out these monster power attacks, get yourself some eagles, get yourself some fell beasts, etc. Some trolls, and just give it a go. Just have a play with them. Great fun. As always, this has been James and Jamie from the Great British Hobbit League channel. Continue to share, subscribe, and support your Hobbit hobby. Happy strategy battle gaming, guys.